Has it never crossed anyone's mind that Inception might have an unresolved flaw? For 14 years since its release, the question about whether Cobb has returned to reality has been decoded. Regardless of whether the top keeps spinning or falls, Cobb's wedding ring and the age of the children serve as clear indicators that he has indeed returned to reality. However, today's discussion is not about this solved mystery but a logical loophole. In the third level of the dream, Fisher has been shot and killed. The question is, where did he go? Some suggest the Limbo, a realm addressed in the movie where one ends up if they die within a dream. Now here's the quandary. How did Cobb and the young girl get to the Limbo to save Fisher? They might not have died. Another explicit detail from the film states that death in Limbo would result in an immediate return to reality. So, how did the young girl and Fisher come back to the third level from Limbo? Surely, Limbo isn't a place you can enter and leave at will. That's implausible. Now, if we discard the Limbo theory and hypothesize that Fisher went to a fourth level of dreaming, followed by Cobb and the girl, we face another contradiction. Cobb has explicitly said that this place, which he constructed with his wife, is Limbo. So how did they arrive in Limbo without dying in the dream? And even if we disregard Cobb's line, suggesting this isn't Limbo but the fourth level, why does Sato's death take him to Limbo and Fisher's death to a fourth level? Thus, neither Limbo nor the fourth level explanations hold, presenting the major bug of this movie. Some have theorized a space that exists between the third level and Limbo, belonging to neither, yet the film provides no evidence for this. It's purely speculative. Could Nolan, hailed as a master scriptwriter, truly be so inattentive to detail? Well, let's hold on to that question and join 200 years of human sci-fi as we revisit Inception together. I assure you, no time will be wasted. We'll avoid unnecessary tangents and tackle exactly what needs to be explored, bringing you swiftly to the alleged plot holes, and then, let's unravel them together. He is Cobb, a dream thief, a concept conceived in the movie as someone who can enter another person's dreams using a device called a dream-sharing machine. It's a way to extract private information or even alter someone's thoughts. The profession of dream thief is often employed by the magnates of business empires, making it as lucrative as it is dangerous. During a mission, Cobb meets Saito, a tycoon of a Japanese energy company. Saito proposes a job to Cobb. His company is facing a formidable adversary, whose dying owner will soon pass the legacy to his son. Sato's objective is for Cobb to infiltrate the son's dreams and influence him to dissolve the company, thus granting Saito uncontested control. The idea seems far-fetched, and Cobb initially considers declining. However, Saito offers Cobb an irresistible deal. He can use his political connections to allow Cobb to return home. Cobb, having fled the United States for reasons tied with his wife, cannot return to see his children. The opportunity to go home is an offer he cannot refuse. Cobb accepts the job and begins assembling a new team for the operation. As the dream thief, Cobb needs an architect, a chemist, a forger, and a point man. Let's first discuss the architect, a role whose function is straightforward. All elements that need to appear in the dream, from skyscrapers to the grass on the ground, are crafted by the architect. A scene shift, and we see Cobb in Paris seeking his father-in-law, a university professor and Cobb's former mentor. After explaining his situation, the father-in-law agrees to help and introduces a talented young woman named Ariadne. For simplicity, we'll refer to her as the young girl henceforward. Cobb conducts an interview with her outside the university, and the results are surprisingly positive. Following this, the two visit a cafe where Cobb imparts some tricks and intricacies of dream building to the young girl.
When we're asleep, our mind can do almost anything. Now in a dream, our mind continuously does this. We create and perceive our world simultaneously, and our mind does this so well that we don't even know what's happening. That allows us to get right in the middle of that process.
How?
By taking over the creating part. Now this is where I need you. You create the world of the dream. We bring the subject into that dream, and they fill it with their subconscious.
During his meticulous explanation, the girl slowly realizes she's actually dreaming. Awakened, she finds the experience incredible and agrees to enter the dream world once more. This time, Cobb completely hands over the creation of the dream to her. She is truly gifted, crafting details and elements impeccably. At this point, the young girl poses a question.
Who are the people?
Projections of my subconscious.
The concept of projections, or consciousness mapping, is pivotal and can be understood as one's vigilance, akin to dream bodyguards that dream thieves cannot manipulate. If a dream thief introduces too many unrealistic elements into a dream, the dreamer's protective projections can be stirred up, causing them to realize they are dreaming. If you're struggling to understand, don't worry, Nolan gives us a clear demonstration. At this moment, the dream is engineered by Ariadne, and the subject is Cobb. When Ariadne continually defies physical logic and disrupts the environment, it triggers Cobb's projections, growing increasingly forceful, ultimately leading to the appearance of Cobb's wife. Mal's intrusion is so disruptive that she stabs Ariadne, forcing her to wake up startled from the dream, followed by Cobb's awakening. It turns out that dying within a dream is one way to return to reality, which prompts Cobb to realize Ariadne needs a totem. Arthur then explains the significance of having a personal totem.
That way when you look at your totem, you know beyond a doubt that you're not in someone else's dream.
It turns out, whether one is a dream thief, an architect, or any other professional in the dream-sharing business, the prolonged exposure to dreams leads to difficulty in distinguishing reality from dreams. Thus, everyone in this line of work requires a personal totem. Cobb's totem is a spinning top. Its perpetual spin indicates staying within a dream, whereas its fall indicates reality. As Arthur explains this, the young girl, still startled by Mal's earlier behavior, doubts Cobb's trustworthiness, leading her to leave. However, Cobb is confident she will return, sensing that reality no longer satisfies her vast imagination, and only the world of dreams can provide what she seeks. Soon enough, the young girl does return, and Arthur begins to teach her about constructing mazes. Once inside the dream, Arthur emphasizes the importance of creating paradoxical architecture, such as designing buildings with impossible geometries to create a closed loop. In essence, this translates to crafting the dream complexly and flawlessly enough that the dreamer does not realize they are dreaming. This is akin to our own dreams. Some feel so real that only upon waking do we recognize them as dreams, while in others we are aware we're dreaming. The main task of the architect is to make dreams increasingly authentic. Note that this paradoxical staircase will reappear later. With the architect on board, the next to join the team is the forger. The forger's role is clear, akin to shapeshifters from ancient myths. They can become anyone in the dream, deceiving the subject of the dream heist. Cobb finds Eames, the forger he seeks, and briefs him on the operation. Eames reminds Cobb that to succeed, they must understand the intimate relationship between the father and son, whether conflicts or grievances exist. Pleased with Eames's insight, Cobb knows he has found the right person for the job, and so the forger joins the team. Next is the chemist. On Eames's recommendation, Cobb recruits Yusuf, a skilled chemist. Yusuf's powerful sedatives can induce sleep for more than 10 hours, ensuring the subject of the dream heist sleeps deeply enough to believe the dream is reality. Now Yusuf, the chemist, is also part of the team alongside Arthur, the point man. The patron of their operation, Saito, insists on joining them inside the dream. With no other option, as he is the financier, they comply. Saito presents detailed information about their target, Fisher, the sole heir to his company and whose father is gravely ill. Rumor has it that Fisher has a relationship with his father, who also has an aide named Peter. Eames sees Peter as a breakthrough and immediately acts to obtain information by pretending to interview at their company. Here, Eames observes Fisher's father's irascible nature and glimpses Fisher's longing for paternal affection. The scene cuts to the 5-person dream heist team as they discuss the details of the operation. This segment is one of the film's most pivotal conversations, where many questions find their answers. Cobb first suggests that the task at hand is difficult, as changing Fisher's mind cannot be accomplished within a single dream layer. This is why 3 levels of dreams, dreams within dreams, are essential. By descending deeper into dream layers, they can indirectly implant the idea in the dreamer's subconscious, thus altering their thoughts in reality. The foundation of a 3-level dream is potent sedation, ensuring that both the dream team and the target remain deeply asleep. Naturally, this wouldn't be a challenge for the chemist. Cobb then introduces us to the concept of dream time, which differs significantly from actual time. Time in the dream extends so that 5 minutes of real time equates to an hour in the dream, which means 1 minute equals 12 minutes, and 1 second equals 12 seconds. By this principle, if someone sleeps for 10 hours in reality, it translates to a week on the first dream level, 6 months on the second, and 10 years on the third. Suffice it to say, they have ample time. The question arises concerning their return once they've finished the task on the 3rd level. Cobb's response is the kick, which signifies a fall. If everyone across each dream layer experiences a fall simultaneously, they can all return. Previous mentions indicate another method of waking from a dream, death within the dream. Let's shelf that concept for now. After establishing all the operational details, the team faces their most critical task: deciding what idea to implant in Fisher's subconscious to induce him to forsake his father's enterprise. Through rounds of discussion, they devise a strategy. On the first dream level, they intend to sever Fisher's relationship with his father, deterring Fisher from following in his footsteps. On the second level, built on the premise that Fisher no longer follows his father, they plan to inspire him to start his own business. The third level will overturn the father-son discord, attributing the disbandment of the conglomerate to the father's wish for Fisher to abandon the company and pursue his own path, thus achieving their ultimate goal. After finalizing the plan, fate presents the dream team with an opportunity. Fisher's father passes away. Fisher needs to fly from Sydney to Los Angeles to attend the funeral, providing the perfect chance for the operation. Saito even purchases the entire airline to ensure the Sydney to LA flight, a 10-hour journey, is under their control, more than enough time for the team's purposes. On board the plane, Cobb successfully sedates Fisher, the rest of the group take the sedative, and the flight attendant brings out the dream-sharing machine. With everything in place, the dream heist commences. Transitioning to the first dream level, we find the team in a rainy scene. As the rain pours in Yusuf's dream, caused by his in-flight indulgence in champagne, earning him some lighthearted ribbing from the team. The team proceeds with the plan to abduct Fisher and take him to a predetermined location. Everything goes smoothly until a train unexpectedly crashes into Cobb's car. The young architect quickly clarifies she did not create this incident, and they'll address the train later. Following the train incident, legions of bodyguards ambush the team. Again, the young architect asserts she didn't design this. Cobb realizes this is Fisher's subconscious defense, trained against dream invasion, immediately attacking anyone who brings him into a dream. Another contributing factor is the young architect's inexperience, triggering Fisher's subconscious response. This also indirectly results in Saito being shot and jeopardizing his life. The team takes refuge in a warehouse where Eames suggests ending Sato's pain simply by killing him to wake him in reality. Yet, at this critical moment, Cobb intervenes.
It won't wake him up.
What do you mean it won't wake him up?
It won't wake him up.
When we die in a dream, we wake up.
Not from this. We're too heavily sedated to wake up that way.
Right, so what happens when we die?
I drop into limbo.
Are you serious?
Limbo?
Unconstructed dream space.
Well, what the hell is down there?
Just raw, infinite subconscious. Nothing is down there. Except whatever might have been left behind by anyone sharing the dream who's been trapped there before. Which in our case, is just you.
Well, how long can we be stuck there?
Can't even think about trying to escape until the sedation
How
is
long?
eased. Decades. It could be infinite. I don't know. Ask him. He's the one who's been there.
Let's just get him upstairs.
Great. Thank you. So, now we're trapped in Fisher's mind battling his own private army, and if we get killed, we'll be lost in limbo till our brains turn to scrambled egg.
Now, we come across a new concept, limbo. To make it easier to understand, let me first explain that under the influence of strong sedatives, if one dies in a dream, they do not wake up immediately but enter a purgatorial realm, the very edge of consciousness. And the duration here is exceedingly lengthy. Time in limbo is multiple times longer than that in the third-level dream. If one wishes to return to reality from limbo, it is simple in theory. Dying there would send one back. However, anyone entering limbo instantly loses their memory. They forget how they arrived and how to escape, leaving them to wait naturally until death before returning to reality. The truly agonizing part is that even if someone dies of old age in limbo and wakes in reality, they are essentially broken. Having lived decades in that limbo state, their mind will not be clear in real life. Remember this concept. It's one of the most crucial points in the entire narrative. Returning to the plot, with the unexpected having already occurred, the team must press forward swiftly to complete the mission. Eames impersonates Peter, tricking Fisher into thinking Peter has also been kidnapped. Through a contrived conversation between them, the team plants the notion in Fisher's mind that his father actually loved him and that a true will exists inside a safe, and only Fisher knows the combination. Note that in reality, Fisher's father never had a safe, nor does Fisher know any code. This idea is entirely a fabrication imposed by the Dream Team. Under duress, Fisher inputs a random combination, 528,491, the number the team needs to carry on their plan. Fisher's projections, his subconscious security, catches up to them at the warehouse, and they have to move on. In the van, they prepare to descend into the second dream level. Yusuf, the dream holder of the first layer, cannot enter the second level, as he needs to stay behind to drive and ensure the synchronized kick. They arrive at the second dream layer, in a hotel setting, where a striking woman hits on Fisher. This is also Eames in disguise, leaving behind the number 528,491, a reinforcement of the first layer's idea to solidify these digits in Fisher's memory. Cobb reveals himself, claiming to be Fisher's subconscious projection, tasked with protecting him from dream thieves within his own dream. He leads Fisher to believe that it's his Uncle Peter who is behind the abduction, trying to extract the safe's code. Cobb's maneuvering further deepens Fisher's impression of the safe, its code, and the will. Convinced of the safe's existence, Fisher becomes eager to delve into the deeper dream layer to uncover the truth behind the will. By reinforcing these concepts, Fisher is wholly guided by Cobb's agenda, and they naturally progress to the third level, with Arthur remaining as the sentinel of the second layer. As the scene shifts again, we find the team in the third dream level, a snowy landscape, aiming for a distant hospital. I'd like to re-emphasize that the urban setting of the first level, the hotel of the second, and the snow-capped mountains and hospital of the third are all designs by the young architect. Fisher's projections remain present regardless of the dream layer, and thus, the hospital is still guarded, exemplifying the idea that deeper dreams intensify these projections, rendering the hospital's guards fiercely aggressive. Before they initiate their plan in the snow, Cobb instills it into Fisher that he is there to find the will, to see the truth within his father's room. The film's most exhilarating cross-cutting montage then unfolds, merging the car chase at the first level, the fight scenes at the second, and the hospital siege at the third. The adversaries across all levels represent Fisher's projections. At the third level, as the action begins, Yusuf on the first level finds himself with no choice but to cue the kick by playing music, preparing to drive off a bridge, whereas Arthur on the second level hears the music and knows it's time to execute the elevator explosion, skillfully maneuvering the previously mentioned paradoxical staircase architecture to defeat the guards. Here, I need to highlight the film's concept of time once again. The bridge fall in the first dream level lasts about 3 seconds. The falling elevator in the second level is roughly 1 minute. This means that the team has only about 20 minutes in the third level if they use the hospital explosion to initiate the kick. Therefore, on the third level, everyone is racing against the clock, ensuring that Fisher reaches his father. Yet, just as Fisher is about to enter the hospital room, Cobb's subconscious, represented by his wife Mal, appears once again and ends Fisher's life with a gunshot, followed by Cobb eliminating Mal. Pause here. I refrained from discussing Cobb's wife Mal to avoid disrupting the narrative flow. Now, it's time to explain her story for better understanding of subsequent events. Cobb and Mal were once a couple united in their passion for exploring dreams, venturing through multiple dream layers and even once into Limbo. However, Mal grew enamored with life in Limbo, convinced it was reality, and decided to lock away her totem, choosing to live forever in that realm. Left with no choice, Cobb altered Mal's totem to make her realize that they were still dreaming, ultimately leading them both to lie on train tracks in Limbo, committing suicide to return to reality. After a while back in the real world, Mal became delusional, believing it was the real dream, and contemplated suicide to return to reality. To coerce Cobb into joining her, she signed documents with a lawyer asserting she was threatened by Cobb and had her sanity validated by a psychiatrist. On their anniversary, Mal jumped from a hotel, leading everyone to presume it was Cobb who killed her, making him a fugitive and explaining why he cannot return home. In Cobb's heart, he blames himself for Mal's delusion and her eventual suicide because he meddled with her totem. It's his guilt that summons Mal within his dreams to thwart all his plans, including this dream heist. As long as Cobb feels remorse, Mal will manifest in his subconscious to disrupt his objectives. Nolan ingeniously encapsulates the idea with his narrative, akin to our age-old saying, "If you don't do guilty things, you won't fear ghosts knocking on your door." It's reminiscent of the traditional belief about that dream where you always try to kill me. The train in the first level dream is also Mal's doing, trying to stop Cobb. When Mal appears again in the third level, it signifies her attempt to deliver a fatal blow to the team's mission just as they're on the cusp of success. If you understand what I've described above, the rest of the storyline becomes transparent. Some audiences might question why Cobb and Mal, having been to Limbo and altered their totem, could choose to die without regret. We'll hold on to this question for our final summary. Returning to the narrative, after Fisher and Mal both fall, Cobb and the young girl rush to their side. Ims and Cobb announce Fisher's death and the apparent failure of the mission, suggesting they blow up the hospital to initiate the kick and return to the previous level. But at this moment, the young girl unexpectedly proposes a bold hypothesis.
No, there's still another way. We just have to follow Fisher down there.
Not enough time.
No, but there will be enough time down there. And we will find him. Okay, as soon as Arthur's music kicks in, Just use the defibrillator to revive him. We can give him his own kick down below. Look, you get him in there. As soon as the music ends, you blow up the hospital, and we all ride the kick back up the layers.
That's worth a shot.
With the situation at hand, Cobb has no choice but to try. Firstly, to complete the mission so that Saito can send him home, and secondly, to find his wife, Mal, and end his guilt towards her. Cobb and the young girl, via the dream-sharing device, arrived at an unknown space, which I refer to as such because, like everyone else, I'm unsure of its nature. We shall retain this question for the end. Upon arrival, Cobb stated that this was the city he had built, with Mal disregarding that statement for now. Cobb quickly found Mal, who had taken Fisher captive, preferring Cobb to stay in the dream with her forever. Cobb finally confronts the truth about Mal's death, admitting he had tampered with her totem, causing it to spin again. This led to their suicide in Limbo, and even upon returning to reality, Mal's mental state was disturbed, culminating in her suicide. With the truth laid bare, Cobb no longer feels guilt towards Mal, pretending he wants to stay. He convinces Mal to release Fisher, who, in turn, discloses Fisher's whereabouts. Cobb tells the young girl to guide Fisher back and claims that Saito has already died, saying he must find him and bring him back.
You can't stay here to be with her.
I'm not. Saito's dead by now. That means he's down here somewhere. It means I have to find him.
Following this, Fisher awakens on the 3rd level. As for why exactly, we will still keep that question open. The urging of Eames prompts him to enter the room where he finds his father and naturally keys in the code 528491, discovering the supposed will that urges him to renounce taking over the company in favor of pursuing his own dreams. Thus, the Dream Team's mission is accomplished. Eames quickly detonates the explosives, and everyone in the 3rd level begins to fall, synchronized with the 2nd level's elevator collapse and the 1st level's bridge plunge. The next scene shows everyone back on the 1st level, waking up only to find themselves in a river, from which they clamber ashore one by one, except for Saito and Cobb, who remain in the water. Some viewers might wonder why they didn't return to reality but ended up back at the 1st level. This is easily explained. The movie previously mentioned that to ensure the mission's success, the dosage must be increased. Therefore, a fall in the 1st dream level cannot return them to reality. They must wait 7 days, the duration of the drug, to return. Another question arises. Since Fisher's projections were attacking them in the 1st level, why do they not do so after they surface? Because in the 3rd dream level, Fisher had already accepted the ideas implanted by the team, naturally leading to trust them and dissipate his projections. After emerging on shore, Fisher also tells his Uncle Peter that he will not take over his father's company and instead will pursue what he truly desires to do. Of course, this Uncle Peter is still Eames in disguise. Although the mission has been successful, 2 members of the team have not returned. The scene shifts to Cobb waking up on a shoreline. Why would he awaken by the sea? It's because he drowned in the river on the 1st level. Soldiers then escort Cobb to an old house, where an aged Saito, having predeceased Cobb in the dream and faced with the distortions of time in Limbo, has lived for years beyond count. Saito has forgotten how he came to be there and, upon seeing Cobb, does not recognize him. Once a person enters Limbo, they lose all memory. However, when Saito sees Cobb spinning top, his memories gradually return, and he realizes that Cobb has come for him.
I've come back for you. I remind you of something. Something you once knew. That this world is not real.
Convince me to honor our arrangement.
To take a leap of faith, yes. Come back. So we can be young men together again. Come back with me.
Eventually, everyone successfully returns to the airplane. Based on the sequence of awakening, it appears that Saito must have killed Cobb first in Limbo, and then killed himself. Cobb successfully passes through immigration, gets back home, and finally meets his children. It is the first time in the film we see the children's faces as they turn around. Cobb then takes out the top he carries with him, sets it spinning on a table, and the final frame of the movie freezes on the top as it teeters, seemingly about to stop. As I mentioned at the beginning, it has been 14 years, and the question of whether Cobb has returned to reality is no longer in doubt. Firstly, the top is clearly seen wobbling as if about to fall. Secondly, of the 11 times the children are shown in the film, it's only in the last scene that they turn around. And thirdly, the most compelling evidence is Cobb's ring, which is Cobb's true totem, while the top was Mal's. If you observe closely, whenever Cobb is in a dream, he's seen wearing a ring. Whenever he's in reality, he's not wearing a ring, and at the film's end, Cobb is not wearing a ring, definitively indicating his return to the real world. I firmly believe that by now, you all have an in-depth understanding of the plot of Inception, as well as the impact of the film's specific concepts on the plot's progression. Let's circle back to the questions posed at the beginning of this commentary. Where exactly did Cobb and the young girl go? This question extends to why Fisher, upon dying, could return to the dream while Saito and Cobb had to go to Limbo. And in the middle of our explanation, why did Cobb and Mal retain their memories even while in Limbo? These are not issues I'm passing off. My team and I have pondered these questions for days, scavenging through the movie's details and lines, yet no definitive answers have emerged. Especially notable is the first question. To suggest that they went to Limbo seems impossible since Cobb and the young girl did not die in the third level, and it is highly unlikely for the young girl to return directly to the third level from the city of Limbo. And if we speak of the fourth layer of dreams, well, Cobb himself said that this was the city he built with Mal. Still, why would Fisher's death take him to the fourth level and Sato's to Limbo? Consequently, both of these answers are plausible, yet both have gaps. Hence, I refer to them as bugs. Over the years, fans have proposed another answer. Fisher, not entirely dead at the third level, supposedly found himself in a liminal space between the third level and Limbo, able to traverse back and forth. While this solution seems plausible, it lacks hard evidence. If we could find just one line of dialogue or a frame in the movie to confirm the presence of such space in the concept of Inception, this fan theory would hold up. But there's no such proof, relying solely on viewers' imaginations, making this film so uniquely special. Although I've clarified the plot and the specific concepts within the movie for everyone, I have left these two bugs for your consideration. This isn't a challenge to Nolan's storytelling, but a request for dialogue. I am genuinely curious about the answers to these questions. With collective power in numbers, feel free to flood the comments or message me directly. If any viewer can provide an unshakable answer, we will transform your perspective into a new creation and share it, unveiling your solution to the community and unlocking enigmas that have intrigued us for years. If you enjoyed this deep dive and wish to stay updated on our future explorations of science fiction wonders, please do subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for our next adventure into the realms of imagination, and until then,